For 8 long years, I lived for one purpose only, to care for my paralyzed daughter. My life was a lie that I didn't even suspect until a routine visit to the doctor ended with him shouting, "Call the police." Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. Dr. Vincent tapped Theodora's knee with the reflex hammer. Her leg jerked. He frowned, moved to the other knee. Another jerk, but different somehow, sharper. The doctor's mouth tightened into a line I'd seen on too many faces during my insurance fraud days. "Ms. Bennett, I'm going to test your reflexes. Just relax." He tapped again. "Interesting. Your patellar reflex is..." He stood up fast, chair scraping linoleum. "Mr. Bennett, how long has your daughter been..." He cut himself off, walked straight out of the exam room. I looked at Theodora. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Her fingers twisted the fabric of her lap blanket, wringing it like a dish rag. The wheelchair's brake lever dug into my palm, where I'd been gripping the handle. Dr. Vincent came back 90 seconds later, with a security guard trailing behind him. "Sir, I need you to stay calm." The doctor's voice had changed, gone all formal and distant. "I'm calling the police." "What? Why?" My hand released the wheelchair. "Is something wrong with her condition?" "Wrong? Sir, there's nothing wrong with her legs." He pulled out his phone. "Nothing has ever been wrong with her legs." Theodora made a sound, not quite a gasp, not quite a sob. Her hands flew to the wheelchair's armrests and she pushed herself up. Up. Standing. 8 years I'd been pushing that chair, lifting her in and out of cars, installing ramps, selling the oceanfront house for specialized equipment, and she was standing right there in front of me like it was nothing. "Dad, I can explain..." The floor tilted. My knees locked to keep me upright. "Explain what?" The words came out wrong, too quiet. "Explain why you're standing?" She bolted. The wheelchair rolled backward and hit my shin as she lunged for the door. Security guards stepped into her path, and her shoulder slammed into the door frame. She bounced off, stumbled, caught herself against the exam table. Her legs worked fine, perfect balance, no tremor, no weakness, no sign she'd spent the last 8 years unable to walk. "Ma'am, sit back down." The guard pointed at the plastic visitor chair. "Not in the wheelchair, that chair." My medical equipment catalog slipped out of my jacket pocket. Pages scattered across the floor. 19th century amputation saws stared up at me from the linoleum. Felt appropriate. I sat. The plastic chair cracked under my weight, but held. Theodora lowered herself into the other chair, knees pressed together, hands clasped so tight her knuckles went white. "This is the biggest medical fraud case of my career." Dr. Vincent had his phone out, already dialing. "Mr. Bennett, I'm very sorry you're learning about this like this." My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. Text from Remus, my son-in-law. "How's the appointment going? Doc say anything about selling your place?" I stared at the screen. Remus had been pushing for months about liquidating assets. "Theodora's treatment's getting expensive," he'd said. "You know how it is," he'd said. "We're all in this together." Another text. "Dude, you there? We really need to talk about liquidating assets." The phone shook in my hand, not my hand shaking. Me, all of me. 8 years ago, Theodora called from Sacred Heart Emergency. "Car accident," she'd said. "Can't feel my legs," she'd said. I'd been 3 months into early retirement, finally getting to travel, finally getting to focus on my antique medical instrument collection, finally getting to just breathe after 35 years investigating insurance fraud for Pacific Insurance Investigations. I quit everything that day. Came home, converted the living room into a bedroom, learned about adaptive equipment and physical therapy and spinal cord injuries, spent $600,000, sold the house in Cannon Beach for $420,000 because it had stairs, burned through $180,000 in retirement savings on treatments and specialists and equipment. The specialized wheelchair I'd ordered from Germany cost $4,000, custom fitted, memory foam seat, titanium frame, and she just jumped out of it like she was late for a bus. "Dad," Theodora's voice cracked. I didn't mean for it to go this far." "How far did you mean it to go?" I couldn't look at her, kept staring at the empty wheelchair. My hand reached out, touched the armrest. The leather was warm from her body heat. Another text from Remus. "Theo's treatment's getting expensive. You know how it is." I half expected her to tap dance. She didn't. Small mercies. The security guard shifted his weight, looked at Dr. Vincent, looked at the wheelchair. So, should I grab the wheelchair or... I don't think she'll be needing it. Dr. Vincent's voice was flat, professional. The guard looked at the $4,000 custom wheelchair like it just insulted his mother. 2 police officers pushed through the door. The younger one looked at Theodora, standing there, then at the empty wheelchair, then at his partner. Somebody want to tell me what's going on? Dr. Vincent opened his mouth to answer, but Theodora beat him to it, and what she said made my blood freeze. Remus said you had more than you needed. Theodora's voice came out small, defensive. She still wouldn't look at me. The younger police officer pulled out a notepad. His partner, older with gray threading through his beard, gestured for everyone to sit. We'd moved to a consultation room down the hall. Bigger, more chairs. Doctor. Vincent had printed out Theodora's entire medical file, 8 years of documentation stacked on the table between us. When did this start? The older officer kept his tone neutral, professional. It wasn't supposed to... Theodora's coffee cup rattled against the saucer. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Real shaking this time, not the fake tremors she'd performed for years. We just needed a little help at first. How long? 8 years. But listen, my dad, he was always so... He wanted to help, and Remus said what? I heard my own voice from somewhere far away. She finally looked at me. Her eyes were red but dry. He said you had more than you needed. The oceanfront house, the retirement money. You were just sitting on it. I was sitting on it. My left hand signed the police form they'd slid across the table. My right hand wouldn't cooperate, kept cramping up. My retirement that I earned. They separated us after that. Different rooms, different officers. Through the wall, I could hear Theodora crying, or pretending to cry. I didn't know anymore. Detective Morrison came in around noon, 45 maybe. Tired eyes, wedding ring worn thin. He carried a tablet and a file folder. Mr. Bennett, we pulled your daughter's medical records, every prescription, every doctor's note, every insurance claim. And your daughter-in-law, Bryony? She's a nurse at Sacred Heart, had access to prescription pads, medical letterhead. My stomach dropped. Had? Hospital's suspending her pending investigation. This isn't shoplifting, sir. We're looking at elder abuse, fraud, insurance fraud, forgery. I'd worked insurance fraud for 35 years, knew every trick, caught dozens of people staging accidents, faking injuries, lying to doctors, never once thought to look at my own daughter. Remus? Detective Morrison flipped open his tablet. Spreadsheet filled the screen, numbers in neat columns, dates, dollar amounts. Your son-in-law made 17 insurance claims in your daughter's name over 8 years. Total payout, $340,000. The number hit like a fist. That's felony fraud, multiple counts. He slid the file folder across. These are photos from your daughter's apartment, the specialized equipment you bought. I flipped through them, the standing frame, unopened in its box, the adaptive bathroom bars, still wrapped in plastic, the portable ramp, tags attached, the medical alert system, never activated. The specialized wheelchair I'd bought had the price tag still on it. $4,000 printed on a white sticker, partially hidden under the seat cushion. Theodora had apparently been too paralyzed to remove it for 8 years. 2 hours dissolved into bureaucracy. Forms, statements, contact information. Detective Morrison asked if I wanted to press charges. I signed my name, then signed it again. And again. They let me go around 2 in the afternoon. The parking lot stretched out like a desert. My Camry sat 3 rows back, looking small and ordinary. I made it to the driver's seat, closed the door, and pressed my forehead against the steering wheel. 40 minutes passed, maybe longer. The parking meter expired. A ticket flapped under my wiper blade. $35 cherry on top of my disaster Sunday. The drive home took forever. Every light turned red. Every other car moved too slow or too fast. I parked in front of my rental house in Laurelhurst. 2-bedroom, hardwood floors. No ramps, no adaptive equipment needed anymore. Inside, the hall closet still held boxes from my old life. I pulled them out one by one. Case files, investigation notes, my credentials from Pacific Insurance investigations, contact lists from 35 years of work. The dining table became a workspace, files arranged in precise rows, my old habits coming back, muscle memory from decades of building cases against fraudsters. I grabbed a yellow legal pad from the drawer, started making lists. My phone vibrated. Remus. I silenced it. It vibrated again. Bryony this time. I removed the battery. Around 5, my phone rang. I'd forgotten about the battery. No, wait. That was the landline. Nobody called the landline except telemarketers and Harriet. Harriet, my other daughter, the one in New Zealand, the one who'd always asked too many questions about Theodora's condition. Dad, I'm booking a flight. Don't. Not yet. Not yet. Dad, Theodora's been lying to you for... I know how long. I should have pushed harder. Her voice caught. I knew something felt off. Those medical bills never made sense, and when I asked Theodora direct questions, she'd... You tried to tell me. Silence on the line. Then, you said I was being paranoid, said I was jealous because I lived so far away. I'd said that. 2 years ago, maybe 3. Harriet had flown home for a visit, spent a week helping out. She'd caught something in Theodora's story, some inconsistency about the accident. I'd shut her down, told her she didn't understand the medical complexities. You were right, I'm sorry. Dad, I need to handle this myself first. Then we'll talk about you coming home. After we hung up, I sat staring at the yellow legal pad. 3 columns, evidence, contacts, strategy. The first column filled easily. 8 years of documentation existed. Every receipt, every canceled check, every email about treatments and equipment, every text message from Remus about money. All of it saved, organized, filed away by a man who'd spent his career building airtight cases. The second column took longer. I hadn't spoken to most of these people in years. Marcus Chen at Pacific Insurance Investigations, still running the fraud division. Jennifer Park, the district attorney who'd called me as an expert witness in the Multnomah County embezzlement case. David Torres, private investigator who specialized in financial fraud. I wrote their names carefully, added phone numbers from memory where I could, question marks where I couldn't. The third column stayed blank. I clicked my pen. Once, twice, 3 times. Old habit from the office, thinking through approaches, building strategies. My phone buzzed. Remus again. I looked at the screen. 19 missed calls, 37 text messages. I picked up the phone, battery still sitting on the table beside it. Held the dead device for a moment. The screen was dark. Peaceful. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw someone I absolutely did not expect. Arlo Finch stood on my porch holding a banker's box. Rain dripped off his leather jacket onto the welcome mat that didn't feel very welcoming anymore. Saw the news. Channel 8 made it sound like it's worse than the news. I stepped back, let him in. The box looked heavy. Worse than your daughter faking paralysis for 8 years? They got $340,000 from insurance companies, under my nose. Arlo whistled, low and long. He set the box on my dining room table. That's bold. Stupid but bold. The box contained case files. My old case files from Pacific Insurance Investigations. Files I'd boxed up 6 years ago when I took early retirement. Stored in Arlo's climate-controlled unit because my oceanfront house had a basement that flooded. My oceanfront house that I'd sold. For Theodora's specialized equipment that she'd never needed. I need help. I can't. I'm too close to this. Arlo pulled files from the box, started spreading them across the table. You want me to find everything. Bank records, phone records, social media. 8 years of lies leaves a trail. DeWitt, I'm expensive. I don't care. My rate's $200 an hour plus expenses. Fine. This could take weeks. Thousands of... Arlo. I grabbed his wrist. They took everything. My house, my retirement, 8 years of my life. I don't care what it costs. He studied my face for a long moment, then nodded. Okay. Give me 3 days. I'll need passwords, account numbers, anything you've got. We worked until 2 in the morning. My dining room transformed into what Arlo called a war room, and what I called necessary. Photos pinned to poster board with red string connecting them. Laptop open with spreadsheets. 3 legal pads with notes in different colors. Blue for facts, red for questions, green for strategy. Arlo reviewed my setup around midnight. You know, they have software for this now. You don't need actual red string. The string helps me think. The string makes you look like a conspiracy theorist. Lucky this is a real conspiracy. He left at 2:15. I stayed up until 4, staring at the board. Theodora's face in a photo from 5 years ago, smiling from her wheelchair at some family gathering. Remus behind her, hand on her shoulder. I'd taken that photo. Thought it was sweet how supportive he was. Wednesday morning, I called Hope Ward's office. Elder abuse specialist, according to her website. Available for consultation, according to her assistant. Thursday at 2, according to my calendar after I hung up. I spent Wednesday night outside Remus's condo in the Pearl District. 30-minute drive from my place, longer with traffic. His condo was on the 3rd floor. Lights on until 11. I sat in my Camry eating cold pizza and taking notes. 2 visitors between 8 and 10. Both looked agitated. One checked over his shoulder 3 times before entering the building. Thursday afternoon, Hope Ward's office occupied the 12th floor of the Bancroft building downtown. Glass desk, leather chairs, framed degrees covering one wall. She was 50-something, with sharp eyes and sharper suit. Criminal charges are already moving forward. District Attorney's Office loves elder abuse cases. That's not enough. Not enough? Mr. Bennett, they're looking at serious prison time. I want everything, not just justice. I want them to lose everything they stole and everything they have. Civil suit and more. Insurance fraud recovery, asset seizure. I want them buried. Hope leaned back in her chair. That's comprehensive. I spent 30 years investigating insurance fraud. I know every angle. I need someone who can weaponize that knowledge legally. I can do that, but it won't be cheap and it won't be fast. I've got time. They stole 8 years from me. I can spare 6 months destroying them. She slid a retainer agreement across her desk. I signed without reading it. Impulsive, maybe. But Theodora's text messages kept coming through, and each one made my hand steadier on the pen. Dad, please talk to me. I know you're angry, but we can work this out. The lawyer says we should settle. We can pay you back over time. Why are you doing this? I'm your daughter. I read each one. Deleted nothing. Responded to nothing. Friday evening, I followed Remus to 3 different banks. U.S. Bank downtown, Wells Fargo in Lloyd District, Chase on Hawthorne, 4 hours, 3 banks. Either money laundering or serious trust issues about FDIC insurance limits. Given that Arlo's preliminary report showed Remus owed $120,000 he couldn't pay back, probably not the insurance thing. Saturday, Arlo delivered a file folder, 2 inches thick, financial records, debt documentation, timeline reconstruction. Theodora owed $85,000, credit cards mostly, plus a failed investment in some boutique that closed after 8 months. Remus owed $120,000, failed startups, investors threatening legal action. I found court documents showing 2 different creditors had filed suit in the past month. Bryony owed $40,000, her son's private school tuition, medical school loans from 15 years ago that she'd never quite paid off. $245,000 in combined debt. They'd stolen $340,000 from insurance companies. They'd spent $600,000 of my money, and they were still drowning. Sunday morning, I did something stupid. I met Remus at Stumptown Coffee on Division. My idea, my text, we need to talk. His response came after an hour. Fine, 10 a.m. I got there at 9:30, picked a table in the back corner. The incriminating document sat in a folder on the chair beside me. Messenger chat printout from 8 years ago. Theodora, Remus, and Bryony planning everything. The fake accident, the forged medical records, the insurance claim timeline. Arlo's digital forensics contact had pulled it from Theodora's cloud backup that police accessed with their warrant. Remus arrived at 10:05. He'd lost weight, dark circles under his eyes, coffee cup shaking slightly when he picked it up from the counter. He sat down across from me. What do you want? I slid the document across the table. He read the first page, color drained from his face. Where did you get this? 8 years ago, you and Theodora and Bryony planned this. Every detail. The fake accident, the forged records, the insurance timeline. You can't. This is private communication. Private. You plan to rob me blind and you're worried about privacy? His hand moved to the document, fingers trembling. This doesn't prove. It proves everything. and I have 600 more pages where that came from. Remus pulled out his phone, photographed the document, once, twice, 3 times, different angles. "What are you—" He was already standing, phone to his ear before he cleared the doorway. "You're right. This proves everything. My lawyer's going to love this." I grabbed for the document. Too late. He was gone. Door swinging shut behind him. Coffee shop sounds rushed back in like someone had unmuted the world. I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at my own reflection in my phone screen. Black mirror showing an old man who just made a critical mistake. Texted Hope. "I screwed up." Her response came fast. "Call me." I drove home instead. Called from my landline because my cell phone felt contaminated. I showed Remus the evidence from 8 years ago. The planning documents. "You what?" He photographed it. Left to call his lawyer. "They know we're coming now." Hope was quiet for a long moment. "Then we move faster." "That simple?" "No, but standing still isn't an option. They know you're investigating. They know you have evidence. They'll start hiding assets, coordinating stories, building defense. So what do? "Call you back in an hour." She called back in 45 minutes. "I'm reaching out to insurance companies. If they file civil suits for fraud recovery, it'll freeze your daughter and Remus in place. They can't hide money if courts are watching them." "How fast?" "Few days, maybe a week. Corporate fraud recovery moves faster than criminal prosecution. Companies want their money back." My phone rang before I made it home. Hope Ward. Remus's attorney just called me. Her voice had an edge I hadn't heard before. "They're filing for a restraining order, claiming you're harassing and threatening your daughter and son-in-law." I pulled into a gas station parking lot. "That's ridiculous. I know, but that coffee shop has cameras. They'll have you and Remus meeting. They'll spin it as intimidation." My hands tightened on the wheel. "So, what do? We?" Hope laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "We get aggressive. If they want to play legal games, I know games they haven't even heard of. But DeWitt." "What?" "This just got expensive and complicated. Are you sure you want to—" A text interrupted her, from a number I didn't recognize. I opened it. The photo showed Theodora, Remus, and Bryony sitting at what looked like a lawyer's conference table. Theodora's eyes were red. Remus looked furious. Bryony stared at something off camera. The caption read, "This is just the beginning, old man. You have no idea what you've started." I showed the phone to Hope's name on my car's Bluetooth screen, voice steady despite my pulse hammering. "Hope? Forget expensive. Forget complicated. I want to bury them." Monday morning, I called Thaddeus Rafferty, Tad, my former partner at Pacific Insurance Investigations. Last time we'd spoken was 6 years ago, my retirement party. "DeWitt, been a long time." "6 years? You look good, Tad. Can't see me over the phone, but thanks." His voice carried a smile. "You look tired." "I am tired. Heard about your daughter. Channel 8 gave it 30 seconds between the traffic and weather. Made it sound like some feel-good miracle story before they mentioned the fraud. They buried the lead. They usually do." Papers rustled. "You calling for a reason or just checking if I'm still alive?" "I need your help." Figured. His office at Pacific Insurance Investigations looked exactly like it had 6 years ago. Same coffee-stained carpet. Same motivational poster about integrity that someone had put up ironically and never taken down. Tad had gained weight and lost hair, otherwise unchanged. He spread 3 manila folders across the conference table, each labeled with an insurance company logo. Pacific Insurance, first folder. Your daughter filed claims for specialized wheelchair, home modifications, nursing equipment, total $93,000. I bought that equipment, out of pocket. I know. She filed claims anyway, double dipping. Second folder hit the table. Mutual benefit, claims for physical therapy, occupational therapy, hydrotherapy, $87,000. There was no therapy, she wasn't paralyzed. Yep. Third folder, Guardian and Northwest Medical combined, various treatments, consultations, equipment rentals, $160,000. I stared at the folders. Numbers I'd already seen from Detective Morrison, but seeing them laid out by insurance company made it different, more real, more theft, less tragedy. $340,000. That's before interest and penalties. Once they file suit, You're looking at closer to 500,000. Can they collect? Tad smiled, not kindly. Your daughter and son-in-law don't have 500,000, but they've got assets. House, cars, retirement accounts, if any. Courts can garnish wages for decades. How fast can this move? I make calls today. Lawsuits filed by end of week. These companies don't mess around with fraud. Bad for business when people think they can fake injuries for payouts. He made the calls while I sat there. Pacific First, then Mutual Benefit, then Guardian, then Northwest Medical. Same conversation 4 times with slight variations. Massive fraud case. Clear documentation. Victim's father working with attorney Hope Ward. Criminal charges already filed. Companies should protect their interests immediately. By Tuesday afternoon, investigators from all 4 companies had opened files. By Wednesday, they'd requested documentation from Detective Morrison's criminal case. By Thursday, they'd drafted civil suits. Friday morning, the lawsuits hit public record. My phone buzzed with Google alerts I'd set up. Theodora's name, Remus's name, court filing notifications. I sat at my dining room table reading each one on my laptop. 4 separate lawsuits, 4 companies demanding repayment plus penalties plus interest. Total, $475,000. I drove by their house in Laurelhurst around noon. Not my old neighborhood anymore, but close enough that I knew the streets. Their mailbox overflowed with certified letters. The mail carrier looked confused. Nobody was this popular with lawyers. I could have told him it wasn't the good kind of popular. Friday afternoon, I sat in my Camry in the Sacred Heart Hospital parking garage. Level 2, visitor section. Good view of the employee entrance. Bryony emerged at 2:15 carrying a cardboard box. Personal items, probably. Mascara running down her face. Security guard behind her, not touching, but present. The universal escort of the terminated. She loaded the box into her trunk, sat in the driver's seat for 10 minutes before starting the engine. I watched through binoculars from 50 feet away. Her head dropped to the steering wheel twice. Hope called that evening. It's moving faster than I expected. All 4 insurance companies filed today. That's good, right? It's very good. For us, your daughter and Remus are about to be buried in litigation. The financial pressure alone. What about Bryony? Hospital suspension, licensing board investigation. She'll probably lose her nursing license. Career over. I was quiet for a moment. Having second thoughts? No, just making sure I can live with this. DeWitt, they stole 8 years of your life. They committed multiple felonies. I know what they did, Hope. Then why do you sound uncertain? Because she cried. Bryony, I saw her leaving the hospital. She was crying. Crocodile tears. Maybe, or maybe consequences feel different when they're real. Hope's voice softened slightly. You want to stop? No. Firmer now? I want to finish. I just wanted to acknowledge that I'm destroying 3 people's lives. They destroyed yours first. Yeah, they did. Saturday morning, I drove to Stumptown Coffee. Different location this time, different part of town. I wasn't meeting anyone, just observing. Remus arrived at 11:40, sat on the patio with his laptop and phone. I parked across the street with my thermos and binoculars. 11:47, third call of the morning. His hand gestures suggested bad news. Coffee spilled across the table. Barista brought paper towels. 11:52, fourth call. He hung up mid-conversation. Or they hung up on him. Hard to tell from across the street. Phone hit the table hard enough that I heard it through my open window. 11:55, trying to call someone. Not answering, calling again. Still not answering. His free hand ran through his hair repeatedly. 12:01, fifth call connected. Anger escalating. Laptop nearly knocked off table. Other customers staring. Barista approaching with what looked like a noise complaint forming on her face. 12:03, he stumbled over a chair leaving, still on phone, got in his car, head on steering wheel. Phone went dark. 12:08, still sitting there, not moving. I wrote in my surveillance log, this is what collapse looks like. Saturday evening, I found myself outside Bryony's apartment in Selwood. 3rd floor, lights on. Through the window, I could see her at the kitchen table with her son, Ethan, 7 years old, according to Arlo's report. Homework spread between them. She helped him with math problems, patient despite her obvious distress. When he looked up, she smiled. genuine, maternal, protective. After he returned to his work, her face crumbled. She wiped her eyes quickly, composed herself before he could see. I watched for 20 minutes, wrote in my log, "Bryony with son. She's not a monster, just made monstrous choices." Didn't change my course, but acknowledged the complexity. Sunday morning, my phone rang at 6 a.m. "Arlo, you awake?" "I am now." "Check your email. Sent something 15 minutes ago." I rolled out of bed, opened my laptop at the dining room table. The case files stared at me from the poster board, red string connecting photos and documents like a spider's web. Arlo's email had one attachment: Bennett Investigation, Supplemental Findings .pdf. First page, death certificate. Eleanor Bennett, my mother, died 9 years ago. Second page, insurance claim filed by Theodora Bennett. Life insurance payout, $127,000. Third page, bank records. That $127,000 deposited into Theodora's account. Fourth page, withdrawal 3 months later. I stared at the screen. I'd handled my mother's estate. There was no $127,000 policy. Mom had a small policy worth maybe $15,000. Fifth page, application for life insurance policy on Eleanor Bennett. Date 18 months before her death. Applicant signature, Theodora Bennett. Beneficiary, Theodora Bennett. Policy notes. Insured son, DeWitt. Bennett was primary caregiver. Insured had dementia. Policy approved based on daughter's statements about mother's health. I read that page 3 times. "DeWitt, you seeing this?" Arlo's voice crackled through the phone. I'd put it on speaker without noticing. "This isn't the first time." My voice sounded far away. "They did this before, to my mother. That's what the evidence suggests. And DeWitt, there's more." "More?" "Page 6. You need to see page 6. I scrolled down. Another insurance claim, filed by Remus Holt, same insurance company. 3 months before Eleanor Bennett's death. 2 policies. On my mother. Without her knowledge. Without my knowledge. While I was taking care of her. "How much?" I asked. "Combined? $250,000. The dining room felt very cold. "DeWitt, I'm here. What do you want to do?" I looked at the caseboard on my wall. Photos of Theodora, Remus, Bryony, red string connecting their debts, their lies, their fraud. I grabbed a black marker, added a new note to the board. This was never about me. This is who they are. "Arlo, call Hope. Tell her we need to meet. Today. It's Sunday. I don't care. We're not playing defense anymore. We're going scorched earth." Sunday night, 11:47. My cursor hovered over the send button. The email sat complete in my draft folder. Subject line: Anonymous tip, elder abuse fraud case. 4 attachments: police reports, court filings, timeline documentation, photos of unused medical equipment with price tags still attached. Recipients: K2 News, KGW News, The Oregonian, Oregon Medical Board. I clicked send. The whoosh sound felt final, like closing a door I couldn't reopen. Monday morning, K2 News assignment desk. Melissa dropped my printed email in front of Jake, their investigative reporter. I know this because Arlo has a contact there who told him Tuesday, but Monday, I just waited. Jake made 3 calls, police records public, court filings public, insurance fraud documentation public. Everything verified by 2 in the afternoon. Tuesday at 6 p.m., I turned on the news. Tonight, a disturbing case of alleged elder abuse in Portland. A woman accused of faking paralysis for 8 years to defraud her own father out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Theodora's photo filled the screen, then footage of her wheelchair from some family gathering, then the neurologist's office building, where it all fell apart. 35-year-old Theodora Bennett and her husband Remus Holt allegedly collected over $340,000 in fraudulent insurance claims, while Bennett's father, a retired insurance investigator, spent his life savings and sold his home to care for his daughter. Police say Bennett was never actually paralyzed. My phone started buzzing. I turned it off. The reporter called it one of the most brazen fraud schemes in Oregon history. I'd investigated 100 worse cases, but none involving wheelchairs, so points for originality. Tuesday night, Theodora's house. I sat in my Camry 3 houses down, lights on in every room, shadows moving behind curtains, fast, agitated movement. At 9:15, something crashed, sounded like glass. At 9:30, their front door opened. Remus got in his car and drove away. Didn't come back while I was there. Wednesday morning, the story went viral. Reddit's true crime community gave them a thread. 4,000 comments in 6 hours. Someone created a timeline graphic with red string connecting events. Looked suspiciously like my dining room wall. I'd have been offended by the plagiarism if I wasn't so impressed by the thoroughness. Twitter had hashtags, Baus fake paralysis, aus elder abuse, justice, aus Portland fraud. Local Facebook groups exploded. Next-door discussions in 3 different Portland neighborhoods. Everyone had an opinion, most of them angry. Wednesday afternoon, Theodora's phone. I couldn't see it, but Arlo could. His contact at the phone company owed him favors. 47 missed calls, 139 text messages. Instagram followers dropping in real time, according to some tracking site Arlo used. The boutique. I'd forgotten about that. Theodora had been planning to open an artisan clothing store. Sustainable fabrics, local designers, overpriced t-shirts for people who felt guilty about Amazon. She'd lined up investors, $45,000 in commitments. Wednesday at 3, investor Marcus called her. Arlo's audio device in her car caught it. Theodora, I'm sorry, but I can't be associated with this. It's a misunderstanding. The media's blowing it out of proportion. Out of proportion, you're being charged with elder abuse. It's on every news site. That's my personal life. The boutique is separate. Your personal life is national news. My wife won't even speak to me about this investment. I'm pulling out. Marcus, we had a contract. Sue me, seriously. Add it to your list of legal problems. The call ended. 20 seconds of silence. Then Theodora hit her steering wheel, over and over. The audio device picked up each impact. 2 other investors texted by 5 p.m., both withdrawing. 45,000 in commitments vanished in one afternoon. Wednesday at 2, Oregon Medical Board convened an emergency hearing. Bryony Wells, former nurse, current fraud conspirator. The board had questions. I didn't attend, Arlo did. Sent me updates via text. Hearing started. Bryony looks rough. Board members asking about forged prescriptions. She's not denying it. Her lawyer arguing for leniency. Board not buying it. License suspended, possibly permanent. Bryony left Sacred Heart through the employee entrance at 2:15. I'd driven there just to see. She carried a cardboard box, personal items from her locker probably, mascara running. Security guard behind her, not touching, but present. She loaded the box into her trunk, sat in the driver's seat. Her head hit the steering wheel twice. I watched through binoculars from parking garage level 2. Thursday morning, Fred Meyer on Hawthorne. Theodora pushing a shopping cart. Organic produce, artisan cheese, expensive coffee. The cart had maybe $300 worth of groceries in it. A woman recognized her. I saw it happen. The double take, the whisper to her companion. 3 other shoppers turning to look. Theodora saw them looking, saw their phones coming out. She abandoned the cart mid-aisle, just left it. Walked fast toward the exit. The produce checker told his coworker about it later. Couldn't understand why someone would abandon perfectly good groceries. I could have explained, but I was in the parking lot watching her drive away. Priorities. Friday at 2, the mail came. Pacific Insurance Group letterhead, official offer letter, consulting position, expert witness for fraud cases, $2,500 a day plus expenses. Case could take 6 months. They wanted me to testify against my own daughter. I set the letter on my dining room table next to my mother's death certificate. 2 pieces of paper that shouldn't belong together, but somehow connected everything. Hope called that evening. You see the news coverage? Hard to miss. Local story went regional. Seattle stations picked it up. CNN's website mentioned it. That wasn't the goal, wasn't it? You sent evidence to media. I paused. I wanted consequences. I got them. Having second thoughts? No, but watching someone's life collapse on television is different than planning it. They collapse their own lives, DeWitt. You just turned on the lights. I know, doesn't make it less ugly. Hope's voice shifted. There's something else. Pacific Insurance sent you an offer letter. Came today. Consulting position, expert witness. You going to take it? They want me to testify against my own daughter. Technically against the fraud. Your daughter just happens to be the perpetrator. That's a hell of a technicality, Hope. $2,500 a day plus expenses. Case could take 6 months. I laughed. No humor in it. Blood money. Justice money. They're paying you to do what you already did. Expose fraud. While my daughter sits across the courtroom. Your daughter who stole 8 years of your life. Long silence. I'll think about it. Friday night, surveillance. Theodora's house again. Through the window, kitchen table visible. Theodora sat alone with her laptop open. News coverage of herself. She wasn't crying, just staring. She reached for her phone, opened it, stared at the screen for a full minute. Set it down without calling anyone. She had no one to call. Friends gone. Family estranged. Remus hiding somewhere else in the house. She closed the laptop. Put her head down on the table, stayed that way for 20 minutes. I lowered my binoculars, sat back in my seat. Wrote in my log, she looks like I felt 3 weeks ago. Alone, betrayed, no one to call. Didn't change my course, but acknowledged I'd made someone feel what they made me feel. Equalizer, not victory. The Pacific Insurance letter sat on my dining room table next to my mother's death certificate when I got home. I stared at both for a long time. Something Hope didn't know yet. Something I discovered Sunday night while preparing the media package. Same insurance company, Pacific Insurance Group. The company offering me a job was the same company Theodora and Remus had defrauded. 8 years ago. 9 years ago. Possibly others. My phone buzzed. Arlo. Got something. You're not going to like it. Can it wait until tomorrow? No. Check your email. File labeled Bennett Family Investigation Timeline. I opened it. Spreadsheet, column headers, date, policyholder, insured party, claimant, amount, status. My mother, Eleanor, 2 policies, $250,000 total. Claimed by Theodora and Remus. Below that, my Aunt Patricia, deceased 2015. 1 policy, $75,000. Claimed by Theodora. Below that, my Uncle Raymond, deceased 2017. 1 policy, $50,000. Claimed by Remus. Below that, names I didn't recognize. 7 more policies, 7 more elderly people. Combined claims, $680,000. I scrolled. The numbers kept growing. DeWitt, you seeing this? I couldn't speak. DeWitt? This isn't about you. This isn't about your mother. They've been running this scam for over a decade. At least 12 victims we can prove, possibly more. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, 2 people in dark suits, federal badges visible on their belts. Arlo, I need to call you back. Why? FBI just showed up at my door. The FBI agents showed their badges, Special Agent Morrison and Special Agent Chen. I stepped back from the door, hand on the doorframe for balance. Mr. Bennett, we'd like to ask you about Pacific Insurance Group. The consulting offer? I haven't decided. Not the offer, the fraud. We've been investigating Pacific Insurance for 18 months. Your case got our attention. I let them in. They sat at my dining room table, stared at my war room. Poster board, red string, case files everywhere. Agent Chen pulled out a tablet. Your daughter's case is part of a larger pattern. We believe Pacific Insurance has been facilitating or ignoring systematic fraud for years. Facilitating how? Approving suspicious claims, not investigating obvious red flags, possibly taking kickbacks from fraud rings. Your family's situation might be connected to something bigger. How much bigger? Chen slid the tablet across. Spreadsheet filled the screen. 12 confirmed victims, possibly 23. Total fraud, approximately $3 million. The number hit like a fist. And your investigative background makes you valuable to our case. Will you cooperate? What does cooperation mean? Testimony, documentation, expert witness work against the insurance company and the fraud ring. The fraud ring being my daughter. Morrison met my eyes. Among others. Can you handle that? They left at 9. I sat in my dining room until midnight, staring at the case board. Saturday morning, Theodora met with her new attorney, Curtis Hammond. High-priced, aggressive, known for winning impossible cases. Arlo's contact at the law firm sent photos. Theodora, Remus, and Bryony in Hammond's conference room, all three taking notes while Hammond talked. I didn't know what he said, not yet. Monday morning I found out. Hammond filed a countersuit. Thick document, probably 60 pages. Media cameras waiting at the courthouse. He'd called them himself. I watched the coverage from my living room. Today we filed a countersuit against DeWitt Bennett for elder psychological abuse and financial exploitation. Hammond spoke directly to cameras, every word practiced. Mr. Bennett created an environment of control and psychological pressure that caused his daughter Theodora to develop conversion disorder, a real and recognized psychological condition. Rather than seeking proper psychiatric treatment for his daughter, Mr. Bennett exploited her illness for revenge when she married against his wishes. A reporter asked, "But the police reports say she faked." The police reports reflect Mr. Bennett's narrative. Our medical experts will provide the truth. My client is the real victim of elder abuse by her own father. The lawyer said conversion disorder, like he'd just solved world hunger. I'd read the DSM-5 section on conversion disorder in 2018 investigating a workers' comp case. Hammond was using medical terminology like a con artist uses a 3-card Monte shuffle, confidently and counting on confusion. I counted his teeth during his media smile. 12 visible. Man knew his angles. Tuesday morning, process server at my door. Certified envelope, lawsuit. I read the first page, set it down carefully. My hands shook slightly. Picked up my phone to call Hope, but stopped. Set it down, picked it up again. She answered on the first ring. "You saw?" "Yes." "Come to my office, 2 o'clock. I got there at 1:50. Hope slid the lawsuit across her desk. "It's actually clever. Bastard, but clever." "How is this clever? It's complete fiction." "Fiction that's hard to disprove. Conversion disorder is real, rare, controversial, but real. If they can get one psychiatrist to testify it's possible, it's not possible. She was faking. I have evidence." "You have evidence she could walk. You don't have evidence she consciously knew she could walk." I stared at her. "That's insane. That's law. If she genuinely believes she was paralyzed due to psychological trauma, intent changes everything." "You think a jury will believe this?" Hope paused. "A jury might. Mental illness is sympathetic. You're the father who turned on his daughter. They're spinning you as vindictive, controlling. And Hammond's good. Won a case last year where his client claimed kleptomania as defense for embezzlement. Are we going to lose? Lose? No. The criminal charges are solid. But this countersuit could muddy everything, make you look like the bad guy, maybe even expose you to liability. After everything they did to me, welcome to the legal system. Truth matters less than narrative. Wednesday morning, deposition, Hammond's conference room, video camera recording, court reporter typing every word. Hammond paced while questioning. I stayed seated, hands folded. "Mr. Bennett, how would you describe your relationship with your daughter before her alleged accident?" "Close. We were close." "Close? Yet you disapproved of her marriage to Mr. Holt, correct?" "I had concerns." "Concerns you expressed how?" "I told her I thought they were rushing into it." "Did you raise your voice? Threaten to cut her off financially? Make her choose between you and her husband?" "No, I expressed concern. That's what fathers do." "Controlling fathers, perhaps." "Mr. Bennett, after your daughter's accident, you took over her medical care completely, correct? She was paralyzed. Someone had to. Someone, or you specifically. Did you allow her husband to make medical decisions? Remus was involved in. Yes or no? Did you make yourself the primary decision maker? Yes, but. And you controlled her finances? I managed them because she couldn't. You managed them, controlled them, made yourself indispensable. Some might say you enjoyed the power dynamic." Hope objected. Hammond withdrew, then asked, "When did you first decide to destroy your daughter?" Hope objected again. "When exactly did seeking justice become revenge? When she married someone you didn't approve of?" Hammond asked if I enjoyed the power dynamic of caring for my paralyzed daughter. I asked if he enjoyed the power dynamic of making $500 an hour to ask stupid questions. Hope kicked me under the table. The court reporter's lips twitched. Small victories. 5 hours of that. By 2 p.m., I felt wrung out, defensive, uncertain. Wednesday night, 11:45. Text from Harriet in New Zealand. Saw the news. Their lawyer making you look like villain. I know. This is bullshit, Dad. Language might be accurate here. I'm booking a flight. You don't need to. I am booking a flight. Be there Thursday morning. Harriet, you took care of everyone else for 40 years. Someone should take care of you. Long pause. Thank you. That's what real daughters do. I sat at my dining room table with bourbon. First drink since this started. Didn't taste it. Just held the glass and stared at the caseboard. Thursday morning, 6:15. PDX arrivals. Harriet came through customs looking exhausted. 20 hours of travel. She hugged me harder than I'd been hugged in 8 years. You look terrible, she said. You flew 11,000 miles to tell me that? I flew 11,000 miles to tell you a lot of things. That's just the most obvious. We drove back in silence. She stared out the window at Portland, waking up. How bad is it really? She asked as we pulled into my driveway. Their lawyer's good, really good. He's making me look like a controlling father who drove his daughter crazy. Did you? I looked at her. Did you? She repeated. Because I need to hear you say it. I need to know this isn't some massive misunderstanding. No, she faked everything. 8 years of lying. Then why do you look so uncertain? I couldn't answer. Inside, Harriet stopped in the dining room doorway, stared at my war room. Dad, what is all this? Evidence, investigation, everything I've found. She walked closer, read my mother's death certificate, read the insurance documents underneath, read Arlo's spreadsheet showing 12 victims. Mom? Her voice cracked. They did this to Grandma Eleanor too? 9 years ago, before the wheelchair, before me, Theodora and Remus took out policies on her, claimed the money when she died. And you're just telling me this now? I only found out 10 days ago. Harriet's hands shook. How many others? At least 12, maybe 23. The FBI's investigating. The FBI? Showed up Friday. Theodora and Remus might be part of something bigger. A fraud ring targeting elderly family members. Harriet sat down hard, stared at the caseboard. This isn't about you getting revenge anymore. No. This is about stopping them before they do it again. Yes. She looked up at me. Then why are you letting their lawyer put you on defense? Why are you letting them control the narrative? Because I don't know how to... My phone rang. Hope Ward. DeWitt, don't say yes to anything. Don't agree to anything. Hammond just called. At 6:45 in the morning? He wants to settle. He's offering a deal. Hammond wants you to pay them $150,000, drop all claims, issue public apology admitting you caused Theodora's psychological trauma. Harriet's coffee cup hit the table. That's extortion. That's negotiation. Hope slid the settlement document across my dining room table. From their perspective, they're offering to drop the countersuit if DeWitt pays damages. I picked up the papers, read them twice, set them down carefully. I'm not paying them anything. I'm not apologizing for exposing fraud. Hope leaned back. Then we go to court Monday. And DeWitt, she paused. You need to be ready for Hammond to tear you apart. He already tried that in deposition. That was practice. Monday he'll have Dr. Voss testifying, sympathetic narrative about mental illness. You looking like the vindictive father, Harriet interrupted. Unless we show what Dad actually has. Hope looked at her. The documentation? I nodded. Every day, every moment, 8 years on video. You recorded her? Not her specifically. I documented the care routine, physical therapy sessions, medical appointments, daily activities, insurance investigator habit. Document everything for potential claims disputes. Hope sat forward. You have video of her not being paralyzed? I have video of her walking when she thought nobody was watching. Jesus Christ, DeWitt, why didn't you lead with that? Because I wasn't sure it was relevant until Hammond claimed conversion disorder. Now, it's everything. Friday afternoon, I opened the storage boxes I'd kept for 8 years. Dozens of mini DV tapes, SD cards, notebooks, all labeled by date. Harriet helped organize them chronologically on the dining room table. This is insane, she said, holding a tape labeled March 2018, kitchen camera. Insurance investigators document. It's reflex. Normal people don't videotape their entire lives. Normal people don't fake paralysis for 8 years. We worked until midnight. Hope reviewed everything, selected the most damning clips, 47 instances over 8 years, same pattern every time. Theodora mobile when alone, paralyzed when observed. Saturday morning, I sat in my car outside the courthouse for 20 minutes, phone in my hand, not calling, just sitting. The Eleanor evidence. I'd planned to use it, show the pattern, prove they'd done this before, but revealing it meant something else. It meant showing I knew my daughter had defrauded her own grandmother, that I'd sat on that knowledge for weeks, that I was saving it for maximum impact. Harriet tapped on the window. "Dad, you coming in?" I pocketed my phone, got out, went inside. Monday morning, courtroom packed, media in the gallery, FBI agents I recognized from my house, District Attorney Marcus Webb watching from the side. Hammond presented first. Dr. Voss took the stand, confident and professional. "Dr. Voss, in your professional opinion, could Ms. Bennett have genuinely believed she was paralyzed due to psychological trauma? Conversion disorder is well documented in psychiatric literature. Patients experience real physical symptoms caused by psychological stress. The mind converts emotional pain into physical symptoms. Could a patient with conversion disorder be unaware they're able to move? Absolutely. That's the hallmark of the condition. They're not faking. They genuinely believe they cannot move." Hammond smiled. "Thank you, doctor. Your witness, Ms. Ward." Hope stood slowly. "Dr. Voss, you examined Ms. Bennett for how many sessions?" 2 sessions, totaling 4 hours. "Over what time period?" "Last week." "So you saw her twice, for 2 hours each, 9 years after the alleged onset of her condition?" "That's correct." "Did you review any contemporaneous documentation? Videos, medical records, daily observations?" "I reviewed the medical records provided by Mr. Hammond's office." "Did you review any independent documentation of Ms. Bennett's daily life during the 8 years in question?" "No, that wasn't provided." "Would such documentation be relevant to your diagnosis?" "It could be, yes." Hope picked up the remote. "Your Honor, I'd like to present Exhibit A." The courtroom display flickered on. Video footage, timestamp, March 15, 2018, 2:47 p.m. My kitchen, Theodora walking normally, bending to pick up a dropped spoon. 30 seconds later, Remus entered. She was on the floor, falling. The courtroom went silent. Hope played 3 more clips, same pattern. Theodora mobile, then instantly paralyzed when someone appeared. The psychiatrist who'd confidently diagnosed conversion disorder after 4 hours suddenly discovered he'd left important notes in his other briefcase. His credibility departed faster than his professional ethics apparently had years ago. Judge Thornton removed her glasses. "Mr. Hammond, your response?" Hammond stood, color draining from his face. "Your Honor, this video is taken out of context. Brief moments of mobility don't disprove conversion disorder. Patients can have intermittent. The video shows Ms. Bennett walking, bending, moving normally in multiple instances while alone, then immediately presenting as paralyzed when others arrive." "Dr. Voss?" The psychiatrist shifted. That would be inconsistent with typical conversion disorder presentation." "Inconsistent or impossible?" Highly atypical." "That's not what I asked." "It would suggest conscious awareness of mobility." Hammond tried again. "Your Honor, one video doesn't—" "It's not one video." Hope's voice cut through. "It's 47 instances over 8 years, all time-stamped, all documented, all showing the same pattern. Mobility when alone, paralysis when observed." Theodora whispered to Remus, loud enough for the microphones to catch. "He recorded everything. How did he—" "Insurance investigator. Of course he documented everything. We should have known." Judge Thornton banged her gavel. "Is there more, Ms. Ward?" Hope paused, looked at me. I nodded once. "Yes, Your Honor. The issue isn't just whether Ms. Bennett faked her condition. It's whether this represents a pattern of criminal behavior." She projected new documents onto the screen. Eleanor Bennett, deceased, March 2015. Mother of DeWitt Bennett, grandmother of Theodora Bennett. Life insurance policy taken out by Theodora Bennett 18 months before Eleanor's death. Payout, $127,000. Hammond shot to his feet. "Your Honor, this is irrelevant to—" "Second policy on Eleanor Bennett, same time period, taken out by Remus Holt. Payout, $123,000. My mother's death certificate filled the screen next to the insurance policies, side by side with Theodora's wheelchair fraud documents. Identical structure, same insurance company, 3-month timeline, matching exactly. Pattern of behavior, Your Honor. 10 years ago, Ms. Bennett and Mr. Holt took out life insurance policies on an elderly family member and collected when she died. 8 years ago, they faked Ms. Bennett's paralysis to defraud Mr. Bennett and multiple insurance companies. This isn't an isolated incident or mental illness. It's a practiced criminal enterprise. The district attorney stood abruptly. Your Honor, the state requests immediate recess. We need to confer with federal investigators. Judge Thornton looked at him. Federal investigators? FBI has been investigating insurance fraud patterns. This case appears connected to a larger investigation. The courtroom erupted. Whispers, gasps, reporters typing frantically. Theodora's voice rose above it. You said they couldn't prove the Eleanor policies. Remus, I thought we covered. You thought. The gavel banged again. Order! This court is in recess for 2 hours. I walked out into the courthouse hallway, leaned against the wall. Hope appeared beside me. You okay? I don't know. I thought revealing everything would feel righteous. It just feels ugly. That's because it is ugly. Justice usually is. Did I do the right thing, exposing the Eleanor case? Did you have a choice? I could have left it buried, focused on the wheelchair fraud, but I wanted them to know I knew everything. And now you're wondering if that makes you vindictive instead of just. I didn't answer. DeWitt, they deserve it. They did it. They would have kept doing it. I know, but she's crying in there. My daughter's crying because I exposed her fraud of her own grandmother. Silence. Maybe that's what makes me angry, I said finally. Not that she did it, that she's crying about being caught. The recess ended. We reconvened. Judge Thornton looked tired. I've reviewed the evidence presented this morning. I'm denying the motion for countersuit dismissal. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for Criminal Investigation Expansion to include the Eleanor Bennett case. Mr. Hammond, your clients should prepare for additional charges. Gavel. Theodora sobbed. Audible across the courtroom. Hammond gathered papers, briefcase already packed. Smart man. Leaving before clients could corner him. Hope touched my shoulder. You won. I know. You don't look happy. I'm not sure what I look. Harriet appeared. Dad, let's go home. In a minute. I walked toward Theodora and Remus. Hope grabbed my arm. Don't. Let it be. I pulled free gently. Crossed the courtroom. They looked up. Identical expressions of fear. Dad, Theodora started. I want you to understand something. My voice came out quiet. This isn't me being vindictive. This is consequences. You stole from my mother. You stole from me. You would have kept stealing. Someone had to stop you. We'll go to prison, Theodora whispered. Yes. For years. Probably. Remus's voice was hollow. Was it worth it? Destroying us? I looked at my daughter. 8 years of lies. 10 if you counted Eleanor. Ask me in a year, I said. Turned to leave. Made it 3 steps. My phone buzzed. Arlo, text message. 911, don't go home. Hammond just left courthouse. Heading toward your address. Fast. Has someone with him. Call me now. I stopped. DeWitt, Hope behind me. What's wrong? I showed her the text. Her face went white. Hammond's heading to your house? Why would... My mind connected dots. The settlement offer rejected. The court case lost. Hammond was desperate. And my dining room had 8 years of evidence. Original tapes, documents, everything. He's going to destroy the evidence, I said. Hope grabbed her phone. Police, now. Harriet? How far is your house? 20 minutes, maybe 15 if... Hammond left 10 minutes ago. He's already there. My Camry screeched into the driveway. Front door ajar. I ran inside. Hammond and another man in my dining room. Caseboard partially dismantled. The man, stocky, 40-something, had my evidence tapes in a duffel bag. Hammond dropped his laptop, raised his hands. This isn't what it looks like. You're in my house. Stealing evidence. That's exactly what it looks like. I pulled out my phone, started recording. The door was unlocked. Bullshit. I showed him my Ring doorbell footage. This shows you picking the lock. The other man set down the bag. Dude, I'm out. I didn't sign up for breaking and entering. Shut up, Jerome. No, you shut up. I'm a licensed PI. I'm not losing my license for this. He turned to me. He hired me 2 hours ago. Said he needed to secure documents before they disappeared. I thought it was legal. Sirens approached, getting louder. Hope arrived through the front door. It's not legal. It's evidence tampering. Federal crime. Hammond's face went pale. You can't prove. Don't need to prove. You're literally holding stolen evidence when police arrive in about 30 seconds. Hammond dropped the bag like it was burning. This is a misunderstanding. I'm an officer of the court. You were an officer of the court. Now you're just another criminal. 2 police officers came through the door, took in the scene, Hammond with his hands up. Jerome stepping away from the evidence bag. Me recording everything. Someone want to explain what's happening here? Tuesday morning, emergency hearing, same courthouse, different energy. Judge Thornton looked furious. Mr. Hammond, in 23 years on this bench, I've never seen an attorney stoop to evidence tampering. Hammond's new lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client panicked. His career is over. The Oregon State Bar will see to that. Bail is set at $100,000. Mr. Hammond, you're suspended from practicing law pending disbarment proceedings. They led him out in handcuffs. The court reporter included Theodora and Remus's whispered fight in the official transcript. Future law students would read this. Small victories. District Attorney Webb stood. Your Honor, regarding the Bennett case, the state is filing amended charges to include the Eleanor Bennett fraud. All 3 defendants? Ms. Wells wasn't involved in Eleanor, but her participation in the wheelchair fraud shows willing conspiracy. Combined with her medical license status, she facilitated the entire scheme. Potential sentences? Mr. Holt, 8 to 10 years. Ms. Bennett, 6 to 8 years. Ms. Wells, 4 to 5 years. Gasp from the defendant's table. Theodora went pale. When the judge said 8 to 10 years, Remus went down like a bag of cement. Thud. Bailiff called for medical. 2 EMTs arrived, did their assessment. He's conscious, just scared. The other EMT. Understandable. Did you hear those sentences? They helped Remus up. His new public defender looked like she regretted her life choices. Thursday afternoon. DA's office. Marcus Webb slid papers across the table. Here's what we're offering. They plead guilty to everything. In exchange, reduced sentences and guaranteed restitution. Hope. How reduced? Remus, 3 years. Theodora, 2 years. Bryony, 18 months. Federal facility. Eligible for parole after serving 2/3. I stared at the numbers. That's nothing. They destroyed 8 years. It's prison, Mr. Bennett. Real prison. They'll serve minimum 2 years, likely full sentences. What's the restitution? Full amount. $600,000 from combined assets, insurance recovery, future earnings, plus $50,000 punitive, public apology in open court. And if I say no, we go to trial. Could take 18 months. Jury trial's uncertain. They might get convicted on all counts, might get some dropped. Sentencing could range anywhere from 2 years to maximum 10. Marcus leaned forward. Here's what I'm not supposed to say. Juries are unpredictable. Theodora will cry on the stand. We'll probably win, but probably isn't guaranteed. This deal is guaranteed. It's also guaranteed light. 3 years is enough to destroy their lives. Felony convictions, prison time, financial ruin. They'll never recover. I stared at the document. I need time. You have until Friday noon. After that, offer expires. Thursday evening, Harriet made coffee. Neither of us drank it. Dad, take the deal. 2 years. She'd be out in 2 years. 2 years in federal prison. She'll lose everything. Her house, her friends, her reputation. Can't vote, can't get decent jobs. Background checks forever. It's not enough. Enough for what? Revenge? I looked at her sharply. When is it enough? They go to prison. You get your money back. They apologize publicly. When does it become enough? When it equals what they took from me. Nothing will equal that, but you can choose whether to let them consume more of your life fighting for 2 more years in court. Hope says mercy is weakness. Hope's a lawyer. She thinks in wins and losses. You're a father. You can think in other terms. Like what? Like closure, like moving on, like rebuilding. I picked up 2 photos from the table. Theodora, at 7, gap-toothed smile. Theodora in court last week, destroyed. The person in this first photo is gone, has been for years. I've been fighting for someone who doesn't exist. So sign the deal? I spent 8 years taking care of someone lying to me. Now I'm spending months destroying them. Either way, my life revolves around them. When does it become about me again? Harriet touched my hand. When you choose to make it about you. By signing or not signing. By deciding and then letting it go. Friday morning, 11:58. I called Marcus. Mr. Bennett, 2 minutes to spare. What's your decision? Long silence. Mr. Bennett, I'll sign with one addition. What addition? They apologized to me, face to face, private room, no lawyers, just them and me and Harriet, before sentencing. That's unusual. That's my condition. Muted conversation. They agree. Monday morning, conference room B, 10 o'clock. I looked at the signature line, hand shaking, signed anyway. Deal accepted. Hung up. Harriet. You signed? I signed. How do you feel? Like I compromised, like I won, like I lost, like I'm exhausted. That's probably healthy. Monday morning, conference room, B, small, 6 chairs, fluorescent lights humming. They arrived at 10:03. Their public defender walked them in, left. Door closed. Theodora, Ramis, Bryony. We sat. Silence. Theodora spoke first. Dad, I didn't come here to listen to you explain. I came because I made it a condition, because I needed to see your faces when you apologized. Remus, we're sorry. For what specifically? For everything? No, specifically. Theodora's voice cracked. For lying to you, for 8 years, for taking your money, for... She stopped. For Mom, for Grandma Eleanor, for doing it twice, for being who we are. Who are you? Criminals, she whispered. I looked at each of them. Yes, you are. And in 3 weeks, a judge will sentence you. You'll go to prison. Your lives are over. You understand that? They nodded. This isn't me being vindictive. This is consequence. You made choices. Now you live with them. Bryony spoke. My son, Ethan, he's 7. He's going to grow up with his mother in prison. Yes. That's not his fault. No, it's yours. She flinched. I stood. The apology is accepted. Not forgiven. Accepted. We're done now. Dad? Theodora's voice, small. I loved you. I want you to know that. Even during the lies, some part of me loved you. My hand on the doorknob. That makes it worse, I said. Left. Harriet followed me to the parking lot. How do you feel? Empty. Is that wrong? No, that's honest. My phone buzzed. Hope. Sentencing hearing is scheduled, May 2nd. You need to be there. I'll be there. And DeWitt? There's something else. Pacific Insurance Group? They withdrew the consulting offer. Why? FBI investigation. Pacific Insurance is being charged as co-conspirators. They were facilitating fraud knowingly, taking kickbacks. The whole company's going down. I stopped walking. The company that wanted to hire me is being charged criminally? Your family's fraud was the tip. FBI's found 47 victims, $7 million. Pacific Insurance enabled all of it. 47 victims? Your mother was number 12. You were number 19. There were 28 others after you. The parking lot spun. I leaned against a car. If Pacific Insurance was facilitating this, who else was involved? FBI's investigating. But DeWitt, you might need to testify. Federal trial. Probably next year. Harriet looked at me. Dad? This isn't over, I said. It's never going to be over. May the 2nd, sentencing day. I arrived at the courthouse at 8:30. Harriet and Hope flanking me like guards. Media vans lined the street. Cameras everywhere. Inside, the courtroom filled fast. FBI agents in the gallery. Insurance company representatives. Reporters. People I didn't know. Public seating packed. Theodora, Remus, and Bryony sat at the defense table with Ashley Kern. They didn't look at me when I walked in. Theodora glanced once, then away. Fast, 9:30. Judge Thornton entered. Everyone stood. Please be seated. We're here for sentencing in the matter of United States versus Bennett, Holt, and Wells. The defendants have entered guilty pleas to all charges. We'll proceed with formal acceptance of those pleas. Theodora stood when called. Her hands trembled signing the guilty plea documents. The pen slipped twice. Ashley steadied her hand. Ms. Bennett, how do you plead to the charge of elder abuse in the first degree? Guilty, her voice barely audible. Speak up, please. Guilty, Your Honor. To insurance fraud? Guilty. To conspiracy to commit fraud? Guilty. Each word echoed. Remus next. Same questions, same answers. His legs shook. White-knuckle grip on the podium. Then Bryony. She just nodded when asked if she understood the charges. Didn't look up once. 10 o'clock. Individual statements. Theodora stood, reading from paper but barely looking at it. Your Honor, I want to address my father directly if I may. Judge Thornton nodded. Proceed. Theodora turned toward me. I didn't move, just looked at her. Dad, I'm so sorry. Those words aren't enough. Nothing is enough. I don't know when I became someone who could lie to you for 8 years, when greed and jealousy became more important than you. Her voice broke. Real tears, mascara running, not performed this time, actually real. You gave up everything for me, your career, your house, your savings, your life, and I was lying the entire time. I watched you care for me, and I kept lying. She couldn't continue, sobbing. Ashley whispered something. Theodora shook her head. No, I need to finish. Dad, I know you'll never forgive me. I wouldn't forgive me. But I need you to know I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I destroyed us. I destroyed our family. I destroyed 8 years of your life. And I can never give that back. She sat down, still crying. The tissue box on the defendant's table was empty by the time she finished. Mr. Bennett, would you like to respond? I stayed seated. No, Your Honor. Remus tried next, stood, attempted dignity. Your Honor, Mr. Bennett, I want to take responsibility. This was my idea, the paralysis fraud. I was drowning in debt. I convinced Theodora. I brought Bryony in. This is on me. Judge Thornton removed her glasses. Noble of you to claim full responsibility now, Mr. Holt. Where was this nobility 8 years ago? I know it's too late. I'm not asking for leniency. I just want Mr. Bennett to know his daughter followed my lead. I'm the architect. I spoke from my seat. First time all morning. You're the architect. She was a willing participant. Don't diminish her choices to make yourself the villain. You're both guilty. Remus sat down heavily. When the judge said 3 years, his knees buckled. Ashley caught him. Bryony declined to speak. When offered the chance, she just shook her head. Ashley whispered to her. She whispered back, I have nothing to say that matters. 10:45, my turn. Mr. Bennett, the court would hear your victim impact statement. I stood, no notes. Your Honor, they took 8 years of my life. I quit my career, sold my house, spent my retirement savings, all for a lie. I can't get those years back. Can't get the money back, even with restitution. Can't get the relationship back. But worse than the money, worse than the time, they took my trust. I trusted my daughter completely. That's gone, forever. I trusted that when family needs help, you help them. They weaponized that trust. I don't want revenge. I wanted them stopped, because they would have done this to someone else. The Eleanor case proves that. I'm victim 19 in a larger fraud ring. There were 28 after me. So the plea deal is adequate, but I want them to understand. Consequences aren't punishment. Consequences are results. They made choices for a decade. Now they live with results. That's not revenge. That's just math. Sat down. Courtroom silent. 11:30. Judge Thornton's turn. I've been on this bench for 23 years. I've seen fraud cases, elder abuse cases, family betrayal cases. This combines all three in the most calculated way I've encountered. You targeted your own family, not once, but multiple times over a decade. Eleanor Bennett, DeWitt Bennett. You showed no remorse until caught. Even today, Ms. Bennett, you performed disability symptoms for sympathy walking into this courthouse. She paused. Let that sink in. The plea agreement calls for reduced sentences. I'm bound by that agreement, but understand. 3 years in federal prison is not lenient. You will lose everything. You will be felons for life. Remus Holt, 3 years federal prison, 5 years supervised release, restitution of $280,000. Theodora Bennett, 2 years federal prison, 5 years supervised release, restitution of $230,000. Bryony Wells, 18 months, 3 years, supervised release, restitution of $50,000. Additionally, 1,000 hours community service after release, 10-year restraining order prohibiting contact with DeWitt Bennett. Defendants remanded to custody immediately. Gavel. Theodora sobbed. Marshals approached with handcuffs. Her eyes went wide. She didn't understand. Immediate custody meant immediate. Metal clicked on her wrists. She flinched, reality hitting. Marshall's hand on her elbow, guiding her. She passed my row, opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Small sound, half sob, half gasp. Marshall kept her moving. Through the courtroom doors. Gone. Remus looked at his hands like they belonged to someone else. 15 minutes ago, free man. Now, prisoner. He glanced at Theodora being led away separately. Different facilities. Men's versus women's. 10 years together. Ending like this. Bryony walked steady when the marshal let her out. Resigned, already serving time in her head. 12:30. Courthouse steps. Media swarmed. Hope pulled me aside. Harriet right behind us. Reporter Melissa thrust her phone toward her camera operator. Dramatic sentencing, but there's a twist. This video shows Theodora Bennett walking normally to courthouse this morning. The phone screen showed Theodora crossing the parking lot. Normal gait, no issues. But inside the courtroom, different video now. Courthouse camera feed. She limped, struggled, appeared to have mobility issues. Even at her sentencing for faking paralysis, she was still performing disability. The TikTok video got 100,000 views in an hour. Comments range from "she can't help herself" to "someone give her an Oscar." Theodora went from fraud defendant to meme in under 60 minutes. 1 p.m. Hope drove. I sat passenger seat, watching through the windshield as media chased the marshal van. Theodora's face visible through the window, cameras flashing. "They're in custody," Hope said. "Marshal van's taking them to federal holding. Processed today, transferred to FCI Sheridan by end of week." "How far is Sheridan?" 45 miles. You're not planning to visit?" "No, just wondered how far away they'd be." Hope glanced at me. "You okay?" I thought I'd feel vindicated, righteous, something. "What do you feel?" "Tired, really tired, and old." Harriet from the back seat. "You did the right thing, Dad?" "Did I?" She was crying. Those were real tears, and I just sat there. "She earned those tears." "I know, doesn't make watching easier." Hope. "DeWitt, this is what justice looks like. It's not clean. It's not satisfying. It's just done." "Done," I tested the word. "Yeah, done." We drove past the courthouse. Media still gathered on the steps. Another story, another scandal. Tomorrow, something else. 8 years caring for you, 6 months destroying you. I said it so quietly I didn't think they heard. Harriet. "What?" "Nothing. Let's go home." 3 months later. Early August, dawn on the Oregon coast. I sat on my porch with coffee in the same chipped mug I'd saved from the old house. Ocean spread out before me. Similar view to what I'd sold 8 years ago. Different beach, same water, smaller house, smaller life. The restitution money bought this place. 2 bedrooms, built-in bookshelves I made myself. Kitchen facing the ocean. Enough. Harriet's cab pulled up at 9. She'd flown from New Zealand for 2 weeks. We hugged longer than last time. Closer now. "You look older, Dad." "I am older, 14 months older. You know what I mean. Tired older." "I am tired. Are you okay?" Long pause. "I don't know yet. Ask me in a year." We walked the beach that afternoon. She didn't talk much, just walked beside me. I picked up a sand dollar, perfect condition, pocketed it without explanation. "Have you heard from Theodora?" She emails. I delete. Without reading? I read the first one. That was enough. What did it say? That she understood why, that she was always capable of this, that she had empathy and chose money anyway. Harriet absorbed this. Did that help? Knowing she knew it was wrong, No, made it worse. Do you want to know how she's doing? Hope keeps me updated even though I don't ask. Commissary worker, good behavior, writing letters I don't read. Remus? Different facility, men's side, no contact allowed. Bryony? Transferred closer to her son. Her mother brings him monthly. He's 7. Doesn't really understand. That's sad. It is. She shouldn't have committed felonies if she wanted to raise her son. Harriet flinched. Sorry, that sounded harsh. It was harsh. I'm a harsh person now. 8 years of lies will do that. Evening of her 5th day, we sat on the porch. Ocean sounds, no other noise. Dad, I need to ask you something. Are you ever going to forgive them? Theodora, specifically. No. Just like that. Some things are unforgivable. This is one of them. People change. Prison changes people. 2 years from now, she'll be released. I'll get notification. I'll note it. I'll continue not having a relationship with her. Nothing changes. That's cold. It's honest. She didn't make a mistake. She planned it, executed it, maintained it for 8 years. Watch me sacrifice everything. That's not something you forgive because time passed. So you'll just never speak to her again for the rest of your life? For the rest of my life? What if she really changes? Then she'll be a different person I don't know. The person I knew didn't exist. I can't forgive someone who never existed. Silence. Then, I think you're right. I don't like it, but I think you're right. You think I should forgive? No, I think you should let go, but you can't, so you're just carrying it. It's mine to carry. Hope called Wednesday. Phone on speaker while I made sandwiches. Routine now. Restitution payment number 4 posted, $60,000. That brings you to $250 total. Still short $300. Next payment's October. They're on schedule. What happens if they can't pay? Wage garnishment. 20 years if necessary. You'll get most of it. Maybe 90%. Justice is incomplete, but it's something. Thursday, I drove to Portland for a medical checkup. Grocery store parking lot after. A woman stared, whispered to her companion. They both looked. I got in my car. Drove back to the coast without buying anything. That's why I moved. In Portland, I'm that guy whose daughter faked paralysis. Here, I'm just the guy who bought the blue house on 3rd Street. Friday evening, I unpacked the last box, my antique medical instrument collection, each piece I handled carefully. 19th century amputation saw, Victorian syringe, Civil War surgical kit, arranging them on shelves I'd built. 3 pieces damaged when Hammond tried to steal them. Incomplete collection now, like everything else. Mail arrived while I was working. Stack of envelopes, bills, junk, something from Remus's creditors at the wrong address, and an official envelope, NAIC logo. I read it standing. Sat down heavily on the porch step. Read again. Harriet came out. What is it? I handed her the letter. She read, eyes widening. Director of Medical Fraud Prevention, Department Creation, Congressional Testimony. Dad, this is huge. It's a job. It's a purpose. They're building an entire program around what you learned, around what Theodora did to me. Does the motivation matter if the result is protecting others? I don't know. I'm 68. I wanted to retire, fish, read, drink coffee, and look at water. Do you think that'll be enough? I don't know, but I don't owe the world my trauma. I don't have to transform tragedy into purpose. I can just be done. Will you be happy? I don't know if I'll be happy either way. She sat beside me. What does happy even look like now? That's the question. We sat there as the sun set. Ocean turning orange, then purple, then black. Saturday morning, email notification on my phone. Sender, Theodora.Bennett. Corrections.gov. I stared at it for 10 minutes, opened it. The email was long, apologizing again, explaining prison routine. Then, there's something I never told you, about Mom, about Grandma Eleanor. It wasn't my idea, but I said yes. I was 25. I knew what I was doing. I'm not telling you this to feel better. I'm telling you because you deserve to know I was always capable of this. The counselor here says I need to develop empathy for my victims. She doesn't understand. I had empathy. I just chose money anyway. 2 years to think about this. I think I already know who I am. Someone who hurt her father for money. I hope you find peace, Dad. I don't think I will. I read it 3 times. Harriet looked over my shoulder. What are you going to do? Nothing. You're not going to respond? What would I say? I deleted the email. Emptied trash. Gone. She had empathy and chose money anyway. She said it herself. That's who she is. I spent 8 years not knowing. Now I know. So you're just done? Never speaking to her again? I looked out the window. Some things you don't come back from. Night before Harriet left, final conversation. Have you decided about the job? Leaning toward yes. Yeah? The 8 years are gone. Can't get them back. But maybe they can mean something forward instead of just lost backward. That's philosophical for you. I've had time to think. Ocean and coffee and nothing else. Having nothing else makes you think. And I think I need purpose more than peace. Peace feels like giving up. You sure? That job means you'll never fully leave this behind. I'm never leaving it behind anyway. At least this way, it has meaning. When do you tell them? Tomorrow, after you leave. She hugged me. I'm proud of you, Dad. For what? Destroying my daughter? For surviving. For making something out of wreckage. For being honest about what you can't forgive instead of pretending. Low bar for pride. You cleared it. Next morning, I drove her to the airport. She hugged me at departures. Call me, she said. I will. And Dad, whatever you decide about the job, about Theodora, about everything, it's okay to not be okay. I know. Do you? I didn't answer. She kissed my cheek, walked through security, waved once, gone, back home, afternoon light through the window. I placed the last instrument on the shelf. Antique stethoscope. Stepped back, looked at the arrangement. Collection incomplete. 3 pieces damaged, like everything else. Incomplete, but functional. The NAIC letter sat on my coffee table. Decision made, but not announced yet. I picked up my phone, dialed. National Association of Insurance Commissioners. How may I direct your call? Director Recruiting, about the medical fraud prevention position. One moment, the ocean was visible through my window. Same view I'd sold 8 years ago. Bought back smaller, different, constant despite everything changing. Mr. Bennett, we're so glad you called. Have you made a decision? I looked at my medical collection. Tools from the past. Survived Hammond's attack. Arranged in my new home. Damaged. Incomplete. Functional. Yes, I said. I accept. Wonderful. We'll send the contract today. Start date October 1st. We're excited to have you. One condition. What's that? I want to testify at the Pacific Insurance trial, not just about my case, about all 47 victims. The full pattern. That's not a condition, Mr. Bennett. That's exactly what we need. Hung up, sat on my porch, coffee in my chipped mug, ocean showing up like it always did. No opinions, just waves. The 8 years were gone. Theodora was in prison. Remus was in prison. Justice was served. And I was here, alone, older, harder, incomplete, but continuing. I picked up the sand dollar from my pocket, perfect condition, placed it on the windowsill next to my coffee mug. Sometimes survival is enough, sometimes it has to be. The ocean kept showing up, so did I. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.